Again, I'm here for part 4 of Google Sheets weekly warm-up averages. If you haven't watched the rest of the videos, please go back and do that. Here we've got what we've made so far, and it looks awesome. However, you're probably going to want to use this for several 9-week grading periods. So in order to do that, we're going to set that up now using some of the things we learned in the first video. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to delete all of these warm-up grades. Do not delete week 1. We've typed a formula in there, so you don't want to delete week 1. Just delete warm-up 1 through 5 grades. All right, so just highlight all of them and push the delete key, and it'll delete all of those. Now, don't worry about this error that's thrown here. All that's saying is, hey, you can't divide by 0. It's mathematically impossible, and you have a bunch of numbers here that when Google Sheets looks at it, it thinks it's 0 because you haven't typed anything. As soon as you start typing numbers in here, it'll average them out. So there you go. Another cool thing, if you've noticed, let's say there's maybe a holiday at the end of the week. So maybe that's the grades and there's a holiday here. You don't have to worry about entering that. Maybe you go back later and you just maybe you just black it out to remember, hey, that was a holiday. All right, so delete all of those numbers. Don't worry about this divide by 0 error here. It'll fix once you start typing your warm-up grades in. So we want 9 weeks worth of grades in this sheet alone. So how we're going to do that is we're going to highlight all of warm-up 1 through week 1, the letters above, so D through I. We're going to click and drag over those. We're going to right-click, and we're going to insert 6 to the right. So when we insert 6 to the right, what it's going to do, it's going to just insert blank columns. And so that's week 2 if you think about it like that. We already have week 1, so now we've had week 2. I'm going to right-click again. I'm going to insert 6 to the right or to the left. Either way, it really doesn't matter. That's week 3. Insert 6 to the right again. That's week 4. Right-click, insert 6 to the right again. That's week 5. As long as you have 6 of these highlighted, that's all that really matters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right-click, insert 6 to the right again. That's week 6. Right-click, insert 6 to the right again. That's week 7. You get the picture. Week 8, and finally week 9. So now we have room for 9 weeks worth of assignments. And we already have week 1 set up. So if you remember from the very first video, when we clicked and dragged this little box over, it already thought, okay, that's warm-up 1, so the next one must be warm-up 2, 3, 4, 5, and yada, yada, and so forth. So watch what happens when I do what I'm about to do. I'm going to click from the cell that has, actually you can, if you've done everything in my video so far, I'm going to click the letter D through the letter I. So what that's done is that's highlighted all of my information that I have so far. I'm going to go all the way to the bottom of the sheet, find this little square, and I'm actually just going to click and I'm going to drag it all the way to the end, which, by the way, your last column should be BE. As you can see at the top of my screen, BE. Then I'm going to let go. Once I let go, it's going to take a little bit of time, but then it's going to set up 9 weeks for you. So now you have all 9 weeks ready. All you have to do is start typing in grades. But you can see like warm-up 45, it's starting to kind of like squish. So again, we can use the trick that we learned in the other video by clicking here. And then just between any of these letters is a bar. Just double click that bar and it'll resize all of the columns throughout your entire spreadsheet. So you notice warm-up 45 is now spread out a little bit more to where it has enough room. So now you have 9 weeks worth of warm-ups. But the problem is there's not just one grading period. So what I'm going to do down here is I'm actually going to double click where this says sheet 1, and I'm going to call this 9 weeks, first 9 weeks. That's how I usually label these, first 9 weeks. And then I'm going to hit enter. When I click here, then I can duplicate this Now this is where it becomes easy and like magic. Instead of all these papers and papers and spirals of grade books, now you have first 9 weeks right there in the first grade book. This says copy of first 9 weeks, so I'm just going to double click it again, and I'm going to say second 9 weeks. Hit enter, and then you can see what I'm doing. I'm actually making all 4 9 weeks. So I'm going to duplicate this again for my third 9 weeks. My internet's taking a long time, but you get the picture. Duplicate this for my third 9. Oh, well, I'll fix that later. And finally, click here, duplicate. For my fourth 9 weeks. And so now I have 4 9 weeks worth of warm-ups that I can type in. Of course, some 9 weeks grading periods aren't actually 9 weeks. So you could just do the trick that you learned at the beginning of the video where you highlight 6 of these rows, insert one to the right, drag for a 10th week in the 9-week grading period, or you can just delete one of the weeks if you only have 8 weeks in the 9-week grading period. And so now we have 4 9 weeks grading period, a grade book for those. In the next video, I'm going to teach you how to add students and insert if you get them throughout the year and remove them as well. So that's all for this video, and I'll see you next time.